Today is a day that's supposed to be in the 90s by lunchtime. It's hot out there already, and I'm anxious to get out on the open road where I can get some cool air blowing in my face. And nothing is better in my book than for doing that than get out on a nice R1 with a cross-plane engine and a low windshield and just let that cold air just... I try to stay in the shade in this hot weather, but it doesn't always work. Anyway, it is supposed to be a very hot day, and we are getting a nice early start, and we don't know where the road's going to lead, but I'm sure we're going to have some fun today. Every day on this R1 is fun. Now, you can watch this in 4K if your device is able to play it just by going to the settings knob and dialing up 4K. Today's one of the days we always look forward to. Getting out on the R1 and just listening to that motor sing. This bike has the sound because of the cross-plane engine. It has a sound unlike anything in motorcycling that I know of, and when you back off the gas at high RPM, it just, you think you're in an Indy car or a NASCAR or something. Very, very, very nice sound. Maybe you don't like it, maybe you do, but like everything in motorcycling, it's in the eye of the beholder. Well, like every day, the bike we want to ride is in the back. We got to move some motorcycles around, and until somebody tells me that I have a GoFundMe page for a new garage, which I'm really not going to hold my breath. And plus it's good exercise moving these bikes around all the time. Now, I do a lot of kidding around about wanting a bigger garage, and it's just sad to note that next door to me, my neighbor just rebuilt his whole garage, and it came out beautiful. And I was thinking, maybe you could get him to come over and do mine, but and extend it about 9 feet on one side. Anyway, I have to go to war with the army I have today. My R1 and my MT-09, my two blue Yamahas. These two, I love the color blue that these bikes are, and it's just one of the things. I waited and had to travel almost the whole state of New Jersey to get a blue MT-09. Some people don't like the color. Hey, we could still be friends. I never liked the blue wheels. I never liked the flat black wheels. When I got done painting them silver, I was a lot happier. And as I always do, every day is kind of a predictable routine. It's the same as if you go flying in a small plane. I pre-flight the bike, try to clean up any residue from the day before. Any dead bugs, any, whatever. Check the chain, check the oil, feed the fish. This is a very important part of my routine in the morning. And actually, anybody that ever comes to visit us here at the house, they enjoy hanging out with the fish and feeding them and whatever. And just a nice hobby I've had for over 20 years. And the R1, the bike I get to ride today. This bike I bought brand new, and it has never disappointed me. The only thing in 14 years that's ever needed attention, it needed a starter motor. Other than that, this bike has been an appliance. It has really been, and it is so much fun to ride. Now, it's so much fun for doing one thing is you can be doing double the speed limit and open the gas, and it just throws you off the back of the seat. It's just such a nice power band, and they've written about the cross-plane engine on YouTube. You can look it up. It goes on forever, and it's very interesting. Now, Karen always likes me to do, and I like to do it myself, take care of all the yard chores, all the gardening that has to be done, any hedge trimming, lawn mowing, picking fruit, picking vegetables. Hey, we got stuff we're going to pick today. We've already made our first batch of pickles from cucumbers. We're on our second batch right now, and we harvest out a bucket of stuff and peppers. We've got fresh peppers, everything. It's just a little farm, but it's so much fun doing this. And then we did the canning the other day, pickling, whatever you want to call it. And there's our first batch of fresh pickles from the kitchen of Karen Ertnowski. A lot of fun. Now, it's pretty funny to me because this is a 2009 bike, and already the super bikes have made such leaps and bounds in every possible way that this almost is an old school bike. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe where 14 years has gone. Now the tires that I have on there now are a set of Angels, Pirelli Angels that I got from Vlad. He was using them on the big 1000cc bikes, and he said they were wearing really well. And this set seems like it's wearing better than I thought it would, and it seems like they still have pretty good edge grip. Now, some of these back roads that I like to ride on are a little bit bumpier than you think they are. And once you get up to speed, you realize, ooh, you're really working a suspension here, especially where they get really bumpy. And they're always just slippery enough to make it exciting. Now, I know there are some companies that make a quick shifter for this bike. I just haven't gotten around to doing it. It's on my bucket list, as well as several other things. But the future is always one step away, because we're always so busy on the farm in the summer, always so busy with my grandson, virtually all summer. Now, I admit one of the things I really enjoy about this bike is between corners, just letting it back off the gas and listening to that engine. From the cockpit of the bike, that you feel like you're in a jet plane or in an Indy car or I don't know. It's really mesmerizing. It adds a lot to the ride, a lot. Now, one feature of this bike, this was the first year they had the velocity stacks come off of the intakes at 10,000 RPM. And you better be out on Route 80 or somewhere where you can use that power available. And when those stacks come off, like I said, at about 10 grand, it's like an old 55 Chevy with a 4-barrel carburetor, and it wants to throw you off the seat. Now that sound in between corners, that adds such a cherry on a sundae to a ride. You've got the low end torque of this engine. This is known for the power band, that the crossplane always makes a really wide power band, usable power. It lets a lot of the power get to the tire and not be wasted. And every part of the suspension is exactly as it came from the factory. I've lowered the forks, raised the forks. I've got them down about 6 millimeters now, just to make it a little tighter turning in these twisty roads. But of course, that's all personal preference items. Now, I usually try to be real conservative in these populated areas that I have to ride through to get to where I think the roads are really attractive to me, where there's really no traffic. And every once in a while on these roads, there'll be law enforcement. Now, over the years, I've made a lot of unique carbon fiber parts for this bike, the headlight replacements, the exhaust covers, and the exhaust system that I don't have on the bike anymore because it's just too loud to ride in these populated areas. And every one of them, to a man has held up perfectly. Now, I'm surprised, and I really am, because usually I'm a fan of Michelin tires, but the Pirelli Angels have held up pretty well. Not sure if they'd be good on a track, but they're good on these roads. Now, I don't go crazy with this bike checking the mileage, but every once in a while I will check a tank of gas, and it's usually between 35 and 37. Not quite as good as some of the other bikes, and certainly not as bad as the RD400. So we're somewhere in the middle. But boy, for the mileage that you get excitement, especially when those velocity stacks come off the intakes. And after about 3 hours in the seat, which is relatively comfortable for a sport bike, my butt is about ready to turn around and get back to the farm and just look back at this day, and we have just had a spectacular day. There's just no part of this bike. It took me a long time to get the ergonomics right, the bars right, the pegs in the position I wanted them in, and I've made so many little accessory parts that have worked out well. I'm very happy with it now. So as usual, we had nothing but fun on this bike. Never bored. Never. If you get bored, and you're on board very quickly. 90 miles an hour in first gear, you just can't go wrong. Anyway, as far as the cross-plane goes, again, I want to mention something. There are a lot of really interesting videos on YouTube that explain how cross-plane, they make cross-plane cars too. And I don't know the whole history of it, but it's all documented on YouTube in some very interesting video for anybody that, like me, that you're a motorhead. So if you're new to our channel, I hope you did enjoy the video, of course. We try to go on some really nice rides all year long, ride all of the bikes in our collection to some limit, and ride them safely and with great care. And thanks so much for watching.